Well, what we're going to do, we're going to talk a little bit about ways that you can do some things maybe before the end of the year to benefit when it comes to filing your taxes before April 15th. Joe Mastriano is with us.
As a CPA who's had a licensed professional CPA firm for the last 30 years, I certainly know what the IRS looks for and what they don't look for. And yes, this year there is deductions that are kind of big.
I'm going to make a list.
Well, they can go to my website. I have a blog. There's like 55 of them. I don't have all of them, but I have the key important ones on my blog at problem.org, or just Google Killer IRS. But the first one I want to mention is the cancellation of debt. A lot of people have their house foreclosed on, and the IRS had a provision that said if that happens to you and the bank cancels the big remaining mortgage, you don't have to pay taxes on it.
Oh, really?
But next year you do. So if that's happening to you, you need to grandstand to your lender and make them cancel the debt before the end of December.
Okay. And hopefully we don't have a lot of folks in that category, but sadly there are some, and that's a really important piece of advice.
Oh, absolutely. That has caused tremendous grief for a lot of my clients. But there is a way to get out of that through the insolvency rules, which is why I tell people don't go to these tax relief companies and hire a CPA firm, because we know a lot more than just putting numbers on the form. Another one is, and I'm tending to take advantage of this one myself, the qualified energy efficient products. I'm getting new windows put in, and you get a 10% of the purchase price credit for that. But that's expiring. So if you're
and this is not a tax deduction. This is a credit.
An actual credit, yes.
That's real money right off your tax bill.
I will get hundreds of dollars back, yes.
Yes, cool.
Actual dollars, which is great. Another one for businesses, the advanced depreciation, the 179 deduction, which you can deduct the whole thing. So a lot of people buy equipment and they want to write the whole thing off, even if they don't pay for the whole thing, and most of it is financed. They could still write off. It's like a extra tax, deduction, and you can do that up to $500,000. But starting next year, it goes down to $25,000. So if you've got a bunch of vehicles and equipment and things you want to deduct, and it's more than $25,000, you better make the purchase before the end of the year.
Yeah, and this is not the time to want to spread that over several years, because the benefit next year is a small fraction, just 5% of what you got now.
Yeah.
Good.
What's most important, though, is not just filling up your tax returns with these deductions, because you'll get audited. The government, gives you deductions, they take them away, but in essence, they're auditing people like crazy now, and returns have to be documented. It's almost like you're guilty and have to prove you're innocent. And I have a 4-part method that will guarantee, at least in the past, that you're not audited. So anyone that has used my 4-part method has not to this day, not even one of them, be audited. And the 4th part of that is when you do the return, anything out of the ordinary, especially if the return is beefed up with a whole bunch of deductions and credits, you have to prove to the IRS that they're legitimate, that you followed the code, that you followed the law, and that you have the receipts and all the proper evidence. And there's a lot of misunderstanding out there about what that evidence is. The rules have changed big time. Another thing people should do, too, is don't trust that the IRS has the correct information on you.
Right.
You want to get, by the end of August, they post all the W-2s, 1099s, and K-1s, and you can just call the IRS up, even though I highly recommend you use a licensed CPA firm. All of this is available to taxpayers for free. You call the IRS up and you ask them to send you the wage and income transcript. You match those numbers on your return. If not, if they don't match, you're going to get audited. And people are shocked. People are shocked when they get their bank accounts levied or paychecks levied, because IRS loses returns. No news is not good news. They can lose your return or audit you, and you don't get a notice about it, and you've got liability sitting there on years that you didn't even know that you thought everything was okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that happens. You know, I have a son who's a CPA. He gets smart enough to do that from his mother, not from me. But I can really endorse what you're saying about use a CPA. They will save you more than you pay them.
Absolutely. There's too many companies that have come out of the woodwork, these so-called tax relief companies, and they'll tell people anything they want to hear, and they'll ruin your situation worse than it was before. You'd be shocked at how many people, in fact, more than half of my clients call us up complaining they hired one of these types of companies and got taken and were told that they can knock their taxes down to practically zero and they'll get rid of all the penalties, and they've just been lied to like crazy.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, hey, these have been some great suggestions. I also heartily endorse what you said about getting the right information, because if you don't, you can't prove it. I once had a rather large donation that I made, and
Yes.
I hooked the appraisal that I worked from to make that donation right to the tax return when I sent it in, and I didn't hear from them. So that was good news.
Good. Yes, that's good. You know, every year you should call the IRS and ask them, what do you have on me?
Yeah, right.
You know, I know people are scared.
That's a scary thought.
You have CPAs, but, you know, there are some people that are aggressive and don't have money, and I have a free 74-page download on my website to help people with these things. It's taxproblems.org or Google Killer IRS.
Google Killer IRS. Joe, it's been a pleasure to talk to you this morning. Thanks for those great ideas. We appreciate it.